So back to this game though, like I think Bayern Munich came in good form and, they've started well too. They are another team that's been getting a lot of praises for the way they've started the season, right? I think rightfully, when you play the way they have played, it's deserved that people give you flowers. And so, like, I don't think there's any fuss around that. But one thing became really clear to me, the first half was very well contested. Bayern, like their coach said at the end of the game, they thought maybe they would edge the game if it continued to go the way the first half had gone. It was very clear that Bayern had taken a very man-on-man, like man-to-man approach, and their press was really aggressive. They set good traps. They're very good with their pressing. So Arsenal, in response to that, decided, okay, we will play, but we're not going to overdo it. We're not going to be so proud as to like try to play through your press every single time. We will do it from time to time, but we will also go long when it's called for. And they balanced that really well, which was frustrating for Bayern Munich as it was reflected in Kimmich's post-match comments. He was very scathing of Arsenal's long balls and they said they relied on set pieces, which was a bit, I think, salty, if I'm being honest, because like Bayern's only goal of the game came through a beautiful long ball by Joshua Kimmich, by the way. So for him to, complain or whine about Arsenal playing long balls, it was a bit rich, if I'm being honest. I think teams do this, by the way. I know Arsenal had a period in the past where we used to complain about teams playing long balls against us and saying, yeah, you can't compete. And, we're seeing it with Liverpool and Slot recently as well. Him complaining about teams going long. Teams are going to do the things that work for them. That's football. The other team gets to do tactics too. The other team doesn't have to play the way you want them to play. And I think somebody needs to remind Joshua Kimmich of that. Arsenal were not in that game to do things that Bayern wanted them to do. They were in that game to win, and they did. So they struggled a lot with set pieces too. So I understand the frustration because like Bayern had a hard time dealing with the set pieces that Arsenal, especially corners. It felt like Arsenal were going to score every time they had a corner. And that was the main theme in the game for sure. They couldn't live with Arsenal set pieces. But I think they kept the ball better than Arsenal, Bayern, But Arsenal, with 40% of possession, they shaded almost all the other important statistics in this game. Like they had more shots than Bayern of good quality. They had, let me come back here and take a quick look one more time. They did some really good work with 40% of the ball, Arsenal. And what was fascinating for me was to see, total shots 13 to 8 of Bayern, shots on target, 8 shots for Arsenal, 2 shots for Bayern, and 7 big chances for Arsenal to Bayern's 1. So like in the statistics that really matter outside of ball possession, where Bayern had a lion's share of the ball, like Arsenal they had more than 3 times the XG that Bayern had, 3.11 according to FootMob stats. Bayern had 0.65 XG. They were not bad. They played a good game. It was a game of small margins. However, for them to whine as if Arsenal were just doing long balls is disingenuous, because I remember a few times where we did play some really good passes and work our way up the phases through the pitch, especially as we started to feel a bit more confident as the game was progressing. Like we started to wear them out a little bit because we were able to live with them, and they couldn't press us the way they've trapped teams like Chelsea, teams like PSG, and the rest of the other teams that they've played against that like to play through. Arsenal didn't do that, and would have been done for Arsenal to try, because like Bayern, they've got as good a press as anybody I've seen in Europe so far this season. So those are some of the big themes that I kind of observe. But the thing I'm going to do in this episode is basically talk through some of the players, like tell the story of the game through the players, because it gets really hard with this Arsenal team because there's good performance after good performance after good performance. And it's so easy to overlook people's contributions, and we highlight the mistakes they make when they do make a mistake. because the mistakes are so rare. David Raya, I mean, he didn't have an eventful game,